Grace and peace to you. This is yours truly, Bishop Bowser, coming at you once again. You know, the streets have wounded a lot of people. And when I say wounded, I'm talking about people who have been traumatized by the streets, the gang violence, the gun violence that we see. And so a lot of people that are still living in that lifestyle most definitely are dealing with trauma, and a lot of people who claim to not be a part of the violence anymore but still a part of that street culture are dealing with a lot of violence. These are wounds from the streets, the trauma that people are going through. When you have been traumatized, it affects you psychologically, emotionally, and physically when you have been wounded by the streets. So you have mental ill things you're going through, depression, anxiety, stress, nightmares, emotional, you can't control your emotions, getting angry, lashing out with people. So many ways that trauma has impacted us to where people are physically sick, mentally sick, right? And in so many different kinds of ways, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I myself, when I got saved in December 5th, 1984, been 40 years, but for 8 years, I was suffering post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and didn't know it. And when I finally discovered it, then I found my way to healing. For me, it seemed like it was normal, the things that I was suffering and dealing with and going through, but it wasn't normal. And there's a lot of people today that I know and don't know, but I see on YouTube and social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and all these different places, even in the community, that is still suffering from trauma, and either they don't want to admit it, or if they know they're suffering, they don't want to do anything about it because they're still attached to the very thing that injured them, and that is the streets. If you're going to be healed, you got to get out of the streets. And so a lot of times people smoke dope to numb themselves, drink alcohol to numb their emotions and feelings, to be numb to the trauma that they have to live. I mean, not have to live, but have to go through or live through, I should say. But if we're going to be healed from our trauma, you got to let the streets go, right? Or you're going to continue to live by that trauma. And when a person is traumatized, they're in a constant state of fight and flight or freeze mode, right? And a lot of times people are in denial that they are going through this. And so you can see it, how people lash out on social media. You can see it, how people are drinking and getting drunk and smoking dope and always gotta be engaged in something negative, right? To cover up or deal with their trauma. Trauma affects your self-esteem, right? Trauma affects how you engage your community, your family, and friends in your neighborhood. It impacts your job, right? If you're not able to really function, and you can lose your job, right? And so trauma is something that you most definitely should look to deal with. And so gangs and gun violence and the streets, living in that culture and that lifestyle most definitely has hurt, wounded a lot of people through trauma. And the only way to get healed is you got to first get out of the thing that's injuring you and making you sick. If you want to be well, if you want to be healed, if you want to be delivered, then you got to get out of that. And I want to tell you that the true way to deliverance is through God, through Yahweh, and our Lord Jesus Christ, who I call Yahshua Messiah, that can truly heal you of your emotional struggles and trauma, your psychological trauma, and your physical trauma. You can be well and whole and live a long, good life, because some of you are going to die early. Some of you are not living a quality of life. Some of you are suffering anguish and mental illness and behaviors that are not normal, right? Your response to things are not normal because of the trauma that you're dealing with and the trauma that you're living with. You can ask somebody about something and they don't want to talk about it because that trauma is there, and they don't want to relive that and go through that again. And many times they are reliving it and going through it. So I just wanted to briefly just share with you that and talk about the wounds from the streets, right? That the streets is not a good place. It's not a place where you can live a healthy, thriving, successful, and prosperous life. The streets destroyed us, especially in the Black community. And so the only way to get out of that is get out of the street. And a lot of people, because they haven't been healed of their trauma, that's why they stay attached to the streets. They stay attached to living that dangerous life, right? To cover up the trauma. All right, if you want deliverance and healing, you want to find a way out. If you're dealing with and going through this trauma, get with me. And I most definitely can help you. And we have resources we can connect you with. But I've been through it. I lived it. I lived this life to the fullest in the streets. And I can tell you that I suffered a lot of trauma. I admit, I confess, I was suffering for 8 years until I got help, got delivered from God. All right, God bless you. Go get healed and leave the streets alone. Blessings.